The universe is built on order, yet history is littered with moments of absolute chaos. We chase clarity, we demand closure, but some riddles simply refuse to be solved. We open the files, we chart the deep oceans, we scale the frozen peaks, seeking a pattern where there is only silence and contradiction. These questions endure not because of a lack of data, but because every answer we construct simply fractures, creating a new, more terrifying question beneath it. We begin in the frozen northern Urals, 1959. 9 experienced Soviet hikers disappear, leading to a discovery that defied logic and law. When searchers found their tent, it had been cut open from the inside. Their equipment was left behind, and their tracks suggested a panicked flight into the deadly cold. The hikers' bodies were found dispersed, some buried under snow. Crucially, forensic evidence pointed to an unseen violent force, fractured skulls and broken ribs, with no external struggle. Why abandon shelter in -30 temperatures? And what pressure, or trauma, could inflict such internal damage without leaving a visible mark of assault? In December 1948, on Somerton Beach, Australia, a well-dressed man was found dead. No identification, no obvious cause of death, and a profile that went nowhere. The man was in peak physical condition, yet toxicologists found nothing. His fingerprints were useless. His clothes were labeled, but all tags had been meticulously removed. Hidden in a secret pocket sewn into his trousers, police found a tiny rolled-up scrap of paper printed with 2 words, Tamam Shud, Persian for is finished or ended. That phrase led to an obscure Persian poetry book, which contained 5 lines of ciphered text. The code remains unbreakable, and the man's identity is still one of the world's greatest forensic puzzles. Let us turn from the terrestrial archive to the abyss. In 1997, scientists detected something in the South Pacific that shouldn't have existed. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recorded a transient, ultra-low frequency sound originating from an unknown point deep beneath the ocean's surface. This sound, dubbed the bloop, was far louder than any known biological noise, detectable over a range of nearly 5,000 kilometers. It sounded like a massive creature, yet its magnitude exceeded that of the largest known whales. The official explanation favors seismic activity, but many scientists still debate if something biological, unprecedented in size, is out there. We analyze, we hypothesize, we build models, but ultimately, we are left standing at the edge of our own limited knowledge. From the deadly quiet of the Urals, to a scrap of paper on an Australian beach, to the abyssal depths of the South Pacific, these mysteries persist. They are constant, chilling reminders that reality holds secrets, things that continually evade our deepest understanding and refuse to be neatly categorized. The files remain open, the evidence remains contradictory, and the search for absolute truth continues. February 1959. Deep in the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, 9 experienced hikers set up camp on a slope known to the indigenous Mansi people as Kholat Syakhl, Dead Mountain. It was a journey into a frozen wilderness, a Category 3 trek meant to test endurance against the brutal Russian winter. What they encountered there, however, defied all logic. The region is unforgiving, a desolate, windswept expanse where temperatures plunge to lethal levels. It is a place where nature reigns supreme. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a confident student engineer. 8 others joined him, skilled, resilient, and ready for the challenge. Their objective was a 350-kilometer route through the northern Urals. They were seasoned veterans, equipped for days of isolation in the sub-zero environment. When they failed to report back by mid-February, a search began. What rescuers found weeks later launched a mystery that persists to this day. Their final known location was high on the slope of Kholat Syakhl, where they pitched their tent on the evening of February 1st, 1959. Their tragedy unfolded in the dark hours that followed. The tent was still standing, but violently torn open, not from the entrance, but slashed multiple times from the inside, as if someone needed to escape immediately. Rescuers determined that the hikers had fled the tent on foot, without time to properly dress or gather supplies. Footprints, barefoot, sock-clad, or in a single boot, led a clear trail downhill, away from the perceived threat on the mountain. The hikers, accustomed to severe cold, abandoned their shelter in temperatures as low as -30 degrees Celsius. This implied a sudden, overwhelming panic, far greater than the threat of exposure. The first 2 bodies were found near a massive cedar tree, nearly a mile from the tent. They died of hypothermia, partially clothed, suggesting a desperate attempt to start a fire. As the remaining bodies were located over the following months, the case shifted from a simple hiking tragedy to an inexplicable criminal investigation. 4 of the victims presented with severe injuries, catastrophic chest fractures, and even skull trauma. Injuries equivalent to a major car crash, yet with no external wounds. Crucially, there were no signs of a struggle, no defensive wounds, and no evidence of another party being present at the camp. Who or what inflicted this level of damage remained a mystery. The initial investigation closed the case, citing a, quote, compelling natural force, but the secrecy surrounding the deaths only fueled decades of speculation. The Soviet state's silence and the bizarre nature of the findings, including reports of radiation on some clothing, gave rise to complex and often chilling alternative theories. Explanations range from a rare slab avalanche forcing a panicked escape, to secret military tests, or even encounters with unconfirmed paranormal phenomena. Today, new scientific models attempt to rationalize the sequence of events, yet the complete picture remains obscured by the passage of time and the sheer strangeness of the evidence. The Dyatlov Pass incident endures not just as a tragedy, but as a chilling puzzle locked within the frozen landscape. For over 60 years, the mountain has kept its secret, ensuring that the fate of those 9 young hikers remains just out of humanity's reach. On March 8, 2014, a routine overnight flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing vanished. This is the enduring, unsettling mystery of flight MH370. The flight departed Kuala Lumpur International Airport shortly after midnight, beginning a standard journey across Southeast Asia. For the passengers and crew, it was a typical evening departure, one of thousands flying that night across the planet. On board were 239 people, representing diverse nationalities. No one could have imagined this would be their last known moment of contact. Just 40 minutes into the flight, as it passed over the South China Sea, the aircraft disappeared from civilian radar, and communication systems went dark. The last confirmed position showed MH370 flying normally, before it seemingly vanished without a distress call or warning. The silence was immediate and profound, a technological failure that left air traffic controllers baffled and helpless. The initial confusion quickly escalated into a state of global emergency. How could a modern airliner simply disappear? News reports flashed worldwide, spreading a terrifying sense of uncertainty. For the families, the shock was immediate and paralyzing. The absence of information was crushing. The world watched, sensing a tragedy unlike any before it, rooted in an utter lack of definitive answers. Then came the satellite data. MH370 had not crashed immediately. It had executed a sharp course change and headed west. Military radar confirmed the turn, tracking the aircraft back across the Malay Peninsula before it flew south into the vast emptiness. This was a, quote, ghost flight, continuing silently for hours over the Indian Ocean, guided by a path that defies conventional explanation. The hunt for the wreckage began, facing monumental obstacles, an area defined by mathematical uncertainty, not concrete evidence. The final communication came via automated, quote, handshakes with a distant satellite defining a curved 7th arc where the plane ran out of fuel. The search focused on the remote, deep southern Indian Ocean, a region known for its punishing conditions and extreme depths. Years passed with nothing but silence, until fragments of debris began washing ashore thousands of miles away. Confirmed pieces of the aircraft, including a flaperon, were discovered on Reunion Island and the coast of Africa, proving the journey had ended violently in the sea. But the main wreckage, the flight recorders, and the key to what happened on board remain lost in the ocean depths. MH370 became an icon of modern technological vulnerability, an entire Boeing 777 successfully hiding from the world's surveillance systems. Despite the largest, most expensive search in history, the fate of the flight remains speculative, leaving a haunting void. The questions surrounding MH370 persist, ensuring that this unsolved disappearance will forever stand as aviation's most profound and unsettling mystery. November 24, 1971. Seemingly routine flight turned into one of the most audacious and perplexing crimes in American history. This is the legend of D.B. Cooper. For decades, the case of D. Cooper has captivated the public imagination, defining the term unsolved mystery in the modern era.